Hi guys, the Lord of Kramer here. Today I'm going to be discussing with you the Cheshire home invasion murders which took place in Connecticut, United States. Murders which occurred on July the 23rd, 2007 when Joshua, now I'm struggling to say his surname, it's Komisarski, and Stephen Hayes invaded the residence of the Petit Family home in Cheshire, Connecticut. Dr. William Petit was severely injured. His wife Jennifer Hawke Petit and his two daughters, 17-year-old Hayley Petit and 11-year-old Michaela Petit, were also murdered. Upon entering the Petit's home, Komisarski beat Dr. Petit with a baseball bat. He and Hayes then restrained Dr. Petit in the basement. Hawke Petit and her daughters were also restrained. Hayes later kidnapped Hawke Petit and forced her to withdraw money at a bank. After returning to the home, he raped her and strangled her to death. Michaela was raped by Komisarski. Hayes and Komisarski then decided to burn down the house to destroy the evidence, while Hayley and Michaela were tied to the beds. The two men doused them and the whole house with gasoline, petrol, and then they set the house on fire, leaving the daughters to die of smoke inhalation. The case garnered a significant amount of attention in Connecticut, with the Hartford Courant calling it possibly the most widely publicised crime in state's history. The murders received national and international attention as well, and had significant impact on Connecticut's death penalty, ultimately delaying its abolition. Hayes was convicted of the murders and sentenced to death in 2010. Komisarski was convicted in 2011 and sentenced to death in 2012. In August 2015, the Connecticut Supreme Court, in defiance of the General Assembly, which had abolished the death penalty only for future cases, ruled that the death penalty was unconstitutional and commuted all death and sentences to life imprisonment, even if that sentencing took place prior to the date that the death penalty was abolished. So that's basically the main gist of the story. A bit on the background. The background. On the evening of Sunday, July the 22nd, 2007, 48-year-old Jennifer Hawke Petit and her 11-year-old daughter Michaela Petit went to the local Stop and Shop grocery store in Cheshire, Connecticut. They picked up food for a family dinner Michaela planned to prepare. During the trip to the grocery store, Joshua Komisarski noticed them and took interest, then followed them home. Prosecutors argued at the trial that Komisarski was motivated by money and his interest in Michaela, whom he later sexually assaulted. Shortly afterwards, Stephen Hayes sent a text message to Komisarski that read, "I'm chomping at the bit to get started. I need a margarita soon." Hayes then texted, "We still on?" Komisarski replied, "Yes." Hayes' next text asked, "Soon?" To which Komisarski replied, "I'm putting the kid to bed. Hold your horses." Hayes replied, "Dude, the horses want to get loose, lol." According to Hayes' confession, he and Komisarski had planned to rob the Petit house under the cover of darkness, leaving the family bound but otherwise unharmed. Both men attributed the grisly outcome to a change of plan. Upon their arrival in the early hours of July the 23rd, they found Dr. Petit asleep on a couch in the sunroom. Komisarski entered the basement through an unlocked door. Leaning on the basement stairs was a baseball bat. Komisarski then entered the sunroom and used the bat to strike Dr. Petit 4 or 5 times. He and Hayes bound his wrists and ankles with plastic zip ties and rope. Dr. Petit remembers one perpetrator telling the other, "If he moves, put 2 bullets in him." The children and their mother were then bound in their respective rooms. Hayes and Komisarski tied them by their wrists and ankles to their bedposts and placed pillowcases over their heads. After restraining the victims, Komisarski and Hayes ransacked the house for cash. Then they took Dr. Petit to the basement, where they tied him to a support pole. Hayes and Kormaskerski continued ransacking the house for money, but were not satisfied with what they found. They then found a cheque register with £40,000 in it. $40,000. They decided to steal $15,000. Surveillance video from the gas station shows Hayes purchasing £10 worth of gasoline in 2 cans and that were taken from the Petits' home. After returning to the house, he took Hawk Petit to the bank. The prosecution later claimed that this was evidence of premeditated murder. During this time, Kormaskerski sexually abused the 2 sisters still held in the house, documenting the crimes on his cell phone camera. Hayes forced Hawk Petit to withdraw $15,000 from her line of credit when the bank opened. Hawk Petit informed the bank teller that the men were holding her family hostage in their home and threatened to kill them all. Bank surveillance cameras captured the transaction. The bank manager called 911 and reported the situation to police while Hawk Petit was still in the teller. The manager reported to the 911 dispatcher in real time as Hawk Petit left the bank. The manager told the dispatcher that Hawk Petit had indicated that the home invaders were being nice and that she believed they only wanted money. The Cheshire police responded to the bank's report by assessing the situation and setting up vehicle perimeter without revealing their presence. Dr. Petit was able to hear his wife's assault upstairs. He yelled up and heard one of the invaders say, "Don't worry, it's all going to be over in a couple of minutes." Dr. Petit then managed to escape. He later testified in court that he felt a jolt of adrenaline and needed to escape after being told this. "I thought it's now or never because I'm in the mind at the moment. I thought they were going to shoot all of us." Hayes said in his confession that while he was raping Hawk Petit on the living room floor, Kormaskerski entered and announced that Dr. Petit had escaped. Hayes then strangled Hawk Petit. Some investigators have said that Hayes probably raped her after she had been murdered, making him a necrophile. He and Kormaskerski doused her lifeless body and parts of the house, including the daughters' bedrooms, with gasoline. While tied to their beds, both daughters were doused with gasoline as well. Investigators would later find the accelerant on the Petit sisters' beds and on the clothing they were wearing. Hayes and Kormaskerski started a fire and fled the scene. Haley and Michaela both died of smoke inhalation. Haley managed to escape her restraints and run out of her bedroom and into the hallway, where she collapsed and died. Her body was found in the top of the staircase. 3rd and 4th degree burns on her feet indicate that she got very close to the fire around the time she died. The medical examiner who performed an autopsy on her could not determine if the burns occurred before or after her death. Michaela's body was found in her bedroom. She was still in her bed, her hands tied to it and her lower body hanging off of it. Like with her sister, Michaela's burns may have occurred while she was still alive. Dr. Petit had been able to free himself of the restraints, exit the house and crawl to the neighbour's yard for help. The neighbours initially did not recognise Dr. Petit due to the severity of his injuries. Meanwhile, Hayes and Kormaskerski fled the scene in the Petits family car. They were immediately spotted by police surveillance, pursued and arrested 1 block away after crashing into a police car. The home invasion had lasted between 7 and 8 hours. Both Hayes and Kormaskerski confessed to the murders. Detectives testified that Hayes smelled of gasoline throughout the interrogation. Each assailant claimed that the other was the driving force and mastermind behind the home invasion. Kormaskerski also blamed Dr. Petit for the murders. In Kormaskerski's diary, which was later entered into evidence, he called Dr. Petit a coward and claimed that he could have saved his family if he wanted to. The perpetrators, a little bit about them. Stephen Hayes was born on the 30th of May 1963 in Homestead, Florida. He was convicted as an adult for the first time in 1980 at the age of 16 and was paroled in 1982 but violated 7 weeks later. During the time between the incident and the Cheshire murders, Hayes has been arrested nearly 30 times. 30 times! He spent most of his time incarcerated. Hayes' last arrest before the Cheshire murders was in 2004 after he smashed a car window with a rock and stole a woman's purse. He was paroled in 2006 and was sent to the Silliman halfway house where he met Komchorski. Hayes was an inmate of the Connecticut Department of Corrections subsequent to sentencing to the Petits murders. Joshua Komchorski, I can never say his name, born on the 10th of August 1980, was Hayes' co-conspirator in the home invasion and murders. He was born to a 16-year-old impregnated by a mechanic who was barely out of his teens, according to adoption officials. He was adopted by a Benedict Komchorski, the son of a theatre director Theodore Komchorski, and dancer Ernestine Studel, and his wife Jude. In the early 1990s, Komchorski's sister accused him of sexually assaulting her during the penalty phase of his trial. So, but both perpetrators have come from a long line of messed up pasts from various different things. So it's no wonder they've turned out the way they are. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed my report on the Cheshire murders. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel, and if you want to stay tuned to what's going on, please smash the bell icon. I will be updating several times throughout the course of a week with different stories and different reports of drama and crime cases that have taken place in the past and ongoing. If you've got any questions, comments or thoughts on the story, please leave them in the comment section below, and I will try to answer as many of them as I can. In the meantime, this is the Lord of Kramer. Again, please like, share and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.